Hello, this is Heather Hoffman, and I'm here today with a little bit of a different project. Instead of a card, I have a little bit of a simple home decor piece using the February 2021 Kit of the Month. I just love that little, the little sentiment down there, our family, and those cute little row of rain boots, and I thought it would be fun, instead of making a card, to do some paper piecing and a little bit of coloring. I'm using, you can see I've already pulled out some pattern paper. Those are Memory Box, Garland, and Cottage stripes and dots. I'm going to start by stamping those little boots on the different colors of pattern paper. You don't have to paper piece these. You could make this same project pretty easily and just color the images in with your favorite coloring medium. I think it would be adorable with watercolors or Copic markers, but I thought the patterns on the paper for paper piecing would be kind of a fun, different look and design. So I've got those all stamped out. I kind of skipped ahead. A lot of repetitiveness in this, so I didn't figure you wanted to watch all of it. And I'm going to go ahead and carefully fussy cut out each of these little boot images and just keep them lined up in a row there. Even that looks kind of fun to me. All right, now I have some white cardstock. I've trimmed this to 5:7. I want it to fit in a 5x7 frame. When it's done, I do trim it down and mat it a little. If you wanted it to perfectly fit this, I would suggest leaving that white cardstock a little bigger because it's really hard to get these perfectly centered in the middle. I went ahead and used my fussy cutout boots kind of as a template, if you will, just to kind of plan my placement and get them on there. Obviously, there's only one set of the little boots, so I'm going to have to stamp that one twice. Now I'm switching on my other ones. I stamped them with VersaFine ONYX ink. For this, I want to use Copic friendly ink because I'm going to add a little bit of coloring and a little bit of shadow beneath each of the boots, just to add another little touch and a little bit of realism to them as they're sitting there. All right, now I'm carefully cleaning them off, especially that little set of boots that I'm restamping. I wanted to make sure it was clean and it didn't have any moisture left from the damp cloth I cleaned it with, so I didn't smear on my white cardstock there. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp that on there. And now we're ready just to kind of place those boots on there, make sure everything is kind of where we want it and lined up and even. And then I'm going to pull out a few simple Copic markers. I'm using warm grays, 4 different shades, and I'm going to add a little bit of a shadow effect to this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see a little closer view, and I'm starting with my darkest Copic marker. In this case, it's W5, and that's where I'm just adding that first initial little bit of a shadow and a ground underneath that boot. Then I'm going to go around that with the next deepest shade, kind of random, but that's W3. Then we're going to move to W1. I'm trying not to make it perfect. I just kind of want to blend out a little bit of a base under these. And then finally coming in with that W0. You can kind of see just how quick and simple this is. But there's that ground on that first one. Skipping ahead, I went ahead and did that under each of the boots. Again, trying to make each one a little different so it's a little more realistic. Now that we're done, I've zoomed back out, and I'm going to use a glue pen to stick each of these fussy cutout pattern paper boots over the top. I'm adding a really good coat of that glue on the back. You could use any liquid glue, glue pen. I would suggest something other than a tape runner just to make sure you get those all in place. I touched up a little of the deepest Copic marker as I put that on. I noticed a little spot where a little more white was showing than I wanted, so I went ahead, and it's okay to come back in and fix that when you get to that spot. All right, skipping ahead once again. A lot of this is just the same thing over and over, so I'm skipping through some of that long process, not even that long, but the process, just so that you don't have to sit and watch that. All right, now that those are all glued down, this is where I started trimming that panel down a little bit just to get it a little more even, and I ended up adding a little bit of a mat of cardstock around it. And I kind of looked at that a little more, and I still felt like I needed to take a little off a couple different spots just to get it even. But once I trimmed it down about to where I was happy with, I went ahead and cut a piece of black card. Oh, wait, no, before I did that, I went ahead and stamped my sentiment on there. Sorry, getting ahead of myself here. So now I just lined up that Our Family sentiment in the middle of those little boots, made sure with my grid that I had it on there straight. And then I'm going to stamp that right in the center a couple times for a nice dark impression. And there's that black cardstock now trimmed down to 5x7, and glue that together. I'm not using any foam adhesive because I want to put it in a picture frame when we're done. So I'm keeping it nice and flat, but the Copic coloring and the paper piecing does add that illusion of dimension, which is kind of fun, especially to be able to frame this and put it together. All right, and finally, here it is, popped into my frame. A nice complete project and fun to use to decorate your house. Thanks so much for coming by today. Have a wonderful day.